used to read a lot of books about management and organizational development until I realized they all say pretty much the same thing. Get the right people on the bus, motivate them, give them ownership of their jobs, hold them accountable. But then I found a book that I kept coming back to because it was different and it really did work for me. That's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. It's different because it tells me how to manage myself, and that really is better than managing other people. He says 7 habits, but he even says in the book it boils down to basic principles, which are make promises and keep them, respect other people, and don't let work overwhelm your life.
My favorite book is actually the Harry Potter series, and I like it because Harry is he always stays true to himself. He's never afraid to do the right thing, and I think that's what you need to have when you're in the business we're in, journalism. To be a good journalist, you have to always be thinking and trying to do the right thing is part of your everyday process.
My favorite business book is Tina Fey's Bossy Pants. It is hysterical. It's her autobiography, but it has a lot of really amazing instances of getting along with people, leadership, management that are all hysterical. Why did you like it?
Well, I also chose Tina Fey's Bossy Pants because she has a lot of stories about being a woman in the workplace and also about being a mother in the workplace, because I did read it shortly after giving birth to my first child, so it really resonated with me in that way. And it's hysterical.
Very hysterical.
I am talking to you about the book Free by Chris Anderson, former editor of Wired magazine. In this book, which is a pretty compelling read, Mr. Anderson talks about how companies such as Google make a lot of money, but most of their products, most of the stuff that we use from Google every day is completely free. Pretty cool concept, and he's talking about how free became not just a marketing ploy, but today is an entire economy in and of itself.
My favorite business book is not, in fact, a business book, it's a leadership book. It's called Leadership Lessons from Gettysburg, A Transformational Journey by Stephen Wiley and Dr. Jared Peatman of the Lincoln Leadership Institute in Gettysburg. I chose this book because, to me, leadership is one of the most important aspects of business. I don't believe that a business owner can succeed and can have his business succeed without being able to be a leader, not just a manager. And what's great about this book is that it shows you very clearly the differences between transactional management, which are completing tasks that managers are required to do, setting schedules, that type of thing, and transformational leadership, which are the ways in which you act that really bind your staff to you, your employees to you, that really create that loyalty among them. The best part for me, being a history buff, though not a complete Civil War buff, is that it uses examples of great Civil War leaders such as Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain, as well as Lincoln himself, to really give you examples to show you what transformational leadership is and how you can achieve it yourself.
My favorite business book is The Lexus and the Olive Tree by Tom Friedman, the New York Times columnist, particularly because of one part in the beginning of the book where he talks about how he used to basically guess about what the temperature was in Beirut when he was assigned to that particular bureau in the world. Because there were no thermometers, people had no way of knowing, what the temperature was. And he kind of extrapolated that forward to the guessing that he saw when he was working on the business desk. And you would call up a stockbroker and say, why did the stock market go up today? And there would be some very succinct reason. And, mostly that was probably wrong. And basically he saw it as nothing more than just the same guessing that he did in Beirut. So it kind of set the stage for the book of trying to figure out how complicated our economy is, and kind of left me with the impression that the most complicated answer in business is probably the right one, and that's kind of helped to shape my view of the business world.
I'm choosing Success Made Simple. It's kind of an anecdotal book that looks at Amish business owners and what the secrets to their success are. I like it because A, I'm a Lancaster County native, and so Amish business is very close to my heart, and B, it doesn't try to boil success down to any single gimmick. Rather, it focuses on a number of simple things that may not be easy to do but are important for business and for life.
The best business reads, of course, the Central Penn Business Journal. But if you've already read your weekly issue or seen your stuff online, let me give you a couple of my others, because I don't have one good favorite business book. I have several. First of all, as a leader, The Law of Success, Napoleon Hill, first written in 1925. Every business leader should read that. If you have young leaders or you're starting a new project, one of my favorite books that I just came across a couple years ago, The First 90 Days. Gets you through any project in 90 days, very well organized. Now, as to business books, I've read a lot of them, but probably the most interesting ones to me that I learned the most from are reading about famous people or famous projects. David McCullough is probably my favorite author, and he's written many things. The Jonestown Flood, the Great Bridge, the Panama Canal. It's interesting to read about the guys and women behind nearly impossible projects that make them happen. And then the best place I learn are biographies. And those biographies are of famous people. Lincoln, a great one written about something very close to home, David Eisenhower, and written about his grandfather, President Eisenhower, in his Gettysburg years. And other ones like FDR, Abe Lincoln. That's where I learned to see famous people who you think they're all about success, but it's a lot of failures until they get to that success, and how they lived through those failures. That's a true teaching moment for me.